Our top focus on WION right now. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang held a high-level meeting with India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval in New Delhi, as the two sides look to reset ties after the 2020 Galwan clashes. The talks are part of the 24th round of the Special Representatives Dialogue, which is a key mechanism for discussions on the long-standing border issue between the two countries. Speaking during the meeting, NSA Doval credited the breakthrough to last year's meeting between Prime Minister Modi and the Chinese President Xi Jinping in Kazan, which he said set a new upward trend in bilateral ties. NSA Doval also confirmed that Prime Minister Modi will be visiting China for the SCO summit from August 31st.
There has been an upward trend. Borders have been quiet. There have been peace and tranquility. Our bilateral engagements have been more substantial. And we are most grateful to our leaders who, in Kazan, in October last, were able to set a new trend. And we have profited a lot since then. The new environment that has been created has helped us in moving ahead in the various areas that we were working on.
In response, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi also referred to the Kazan meeting as a pivotal moment that pointed the direction for relations and provided impetus for resolving the boundary issue. Wang Yi also reaffirmed that a healthy and stable China-India relationship serves the fundamental and long-term interests of both the countries.
I am very pleased to meet you again in New Delhi for this round of talks between the special representatives of China and India on the boundary question. The setbacks we experienced in the past few years were not in the interests of the people of our two countries. And then in October last year, President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi had an important meeting in Kazan. That meeting pointed the direction for the development of our bilateral relations and provided impetus for the proper settlement of the boundary question.
The ongoing dialogue comes at a time when both the sides appear keen to stabilize ties after a period of heightened tensions following clashes in Ladakh in 2020. Later today, Wang Yi is also scheduled to meet Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi. Earlier, on day one of his India visit, Wang Yi met India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who stressed that differences between India and China must not turn into disputes. Wang Yi's India visit follows NSA Doval's December trip for the 23rd round of border talks, which was held weeks after Prime Minister Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping agreed to revive dialogue at the BRICS summit in Kazan. And well, for more on this and to talk to us about the significance of this meeting of the Chinese Foreign Minister in New Delhi, we're now being joined by Captain Alok Bansal. He has been the Executive Director of the National Maritime Foundation and has worked with the Institute of Defence Studies and Analysis. Welcome to WION, Captain Bansal. First up, India's NSA has said that there is an upward trend in India-China ties. How do you look at the thaw between India and China right now?
See, India and China share civilizational ties. We are neighbors, we are rising economies, we are part of the developing world. And I think India-China relations were on an upward trajectory ever since Prime Minister Modi took office. Unfortunately, they were derailed because of two incidents like Doklam and what happened subsequently in Galwan, which actually brought our relations back to where it actually started from. And I think over the years, I think the two countries have realized that they need to grow together, they need to maintain peace and harmony. And I think this part has been accelerated by the unilateral tariff war that has been unleashed by President Trump. And I think that has brought these two countries even together, because now more than at any point of time, there is a need for developing countries to come together to put up a united front against this unilateral tariff war that is being unleashed by the United States.
Bansal, of course, I want to talk more on the closeness of ties between India and China in the backdrop of Trump's tariffs. But first up, you mentioned that what happened in Doklam and Galwan led to a worsening of tie between both the countries. But it's also important to mention that China did provide real-time intelligence to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor, and now we are seeing the Chinese foreign minister's visit to India. My question to you is that perhaps what kind of tactfulness is required in dealing with Beijing, and do you think that China has changed its attitude towards India?
See, one thing we need to understand that till we make an effort to at least delineate and demarcate the line of actual control, such incidents can always occur, because firstly we need to understand that we don't have a uniform perception of line of actual control. What we perceive as line of actual control, Chinese perceive a different line of actual control. And since this has neither been delineated on map nor demarcated on grounds, both the forces patrol up to their perceived lines of limits of line of actual control, which actually overlap, and this could lead to confrontation and more importantly, when the troops come face to face, the eventual decision is taken by the local commander. Now, if local commanders act with maturity, nothing happens. But if even one of the two takes an action which is perceived as hostile by the other, there's bound to be reaction. And that small incidents in today's environment of heightened tension could result into considerable derailing of bilateral relations. So I think what is required at this moment is, I think the two countries must, pending the settlement of borders, at least define where the line of actual control goes through, which needs to be delineated on map and can be demarcated of map on the ground. And thereafter, of course, we need to pursue more and more border trade. We must go for opening road linkages, because traditionally Western China was supplied from India. And I think that factor needs to come. That will also, to some extent, rectify the trade imbalance that exists between India and China.
Right, Captain Bansal, my last question to you. Do you think that the Chinese foreign minister's visit to India is perhaps laying the groundwork for Prime Minister Modi's visit to China for the SCO summit?
Undoubtedly, I think that is laying the groundwork, because Prime Minister Modi's visit will be the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to China after Galwan. And I think it will be a very, very significant movement, especially at a time when US has tried to push India into a corner. I think it is very essential that India pursues its national interests, and for that we need to have friends from developing world. And I think BRICS must emerge as a strong bloc to counter this unilateral tariff war which has been unleashed on India.
Right. Thank you so much, Captain Bansal, for joining us here on WION and sharing insights with us on this story.